Hello everyone, this is Brian Akeem and I'm here for another video. This one is going to be the Walking Dead Telltale Games, the final season, or season 4. Now I really love this game. I miss it so much. I played it months ago and I still miss it. I miss Telltale and their games. Season 4 was a major improvement from Season 3. Telltale really worked on it, and unfortunately they did go out of business during the first half of the game, but Skybound was able to finish the other half, and I'm very glad and thankful that they were able to do that. So Season 4 is the final Walking Dead season. Some people want a Season 5, and I don't believe we are going to get a Season 5, at least not anytime soon, and especially not with Clementine and AJ. And I really liked pretty much all the characters in the season, and I'm eventually going to do a part 2 review, and it's going to be focusing on all the characters, or at least most of the characters from the final season. And there are a lot of characters in the final season that we have to go over, but as far as in comparison to other seasons, it's pretty low, so that's good, because you need we have more time to focus on a smaller cast, and I think they did a really good job with this season. And I'm so glad that Telltale ended it because it was just the perfect ending. Clementine deserved the happy ending she got, and I think it was really good. So around August, the first episode of The Walking Dead season 4 came out. It was called Done Running, and I really liked this episode. There was so much to like about it. Clementine being a mother figure to AJ was really nice, and AJ was learning how the world worked, the way the world worked before the apocalypse and after. He's learning all these different worlds that he was born into. He was born after the apocalypse, but he's still learning about the previous world that Clementine's from, and I really like that. I like the characters. I liked Marlon and Lewis. Violet was also pretty okay in this episode. I think she was good. And I liked so many other characters like Ruby and Asim. I think we got a good amount of cast. Telltale said that originally that season 4 was going to have a much larger cast of kids at the boarding school, but that never happened because of budget, and I'm kind of glad it didn't because we had enough characters as it was, and I really like the characters. Clementine going to the boarding school, and AJ learning how to socialize with other kids, even though they're much older than him, and it was really nice. AJ learning to sleep on a bed, and learning about firefighters and police officers. All that stuff was great, and I also really liked Ten in this episode. I think that he was a really cool character, um, an innocent character, and you don't see much of nowadays. And the twist at the end with Marlon dying was also really fun and exciting, and just made me want more of the story. So now we go on to episode 2, where Clementine and AJ have to deal with the consequences of Marlon's death, as well as Brody's death. And this episode felt very real. They got kicked out of the boarding school, unfortunately. Lewis was not being the greatest character, but his best friend died, so I kind of let it slide. And you eventually have a chance in this episode to romance a character, either Lewis or Violet, and I chose Lewis. I think it's better in my personal opinion, but a lot of characters romance Violet, a lot of players, so that's their opinion. And I really like this episode. You get to re-meet Lily again, and you get to fight her against her group. You got to stop them from attacking the boarding school, and I really like that because it's an interesting conflict. It's not like their group is 100% evil, and Abel also came back, and I forgot to mention that in the first episode, but yeah, Abel is back, and I really just did not like Abel, but I really liked this episode. The action scenes were amazing. You had to fight walkers and human survivors all at once, and I really liked that in this episode. It had such a dramatic finish, and the death of Mitch and the capture of Omar, Sim, and Violet in my story because I romanced Lewis and then I saved him. Uh, so yeah, I really like this episode and teaching AJ that murder is wrong. I also did that, and I really like this episode, and I cannot wait for episode 3. And now episode 3, we have to deal with the aftermath of the attack. We have to find all of the characters who were captured, and I really like this episode as well because you have to interrogate Abel, and I actually felt a little bit bad for him, but I still kind of showed him mercy, and I mean I still hated him somewhat for the first 2 episodes, but we eventually attack the boat that Lily and the other characters are on, and I really enjoyed this episode because, once again, throughout the season, you have to teach AJ what's right and what's wrong, and as well as dealing with the other characters who stayed at the school, their relationships, and I still continue my relationship with Lewis, and I was just hoping that he wouldn't die this season because Clementine has been through enough, and I'm so glad that the Walking Dead story um, is ending in this positive direction because the choices are starting to matter with relationship and characters and actions. So this episode was really good. I did not kill Lily at the very end, and James unfortunately died. And he was a Whisperer. If I didn't mention that in episode 2, James was a Whisperer character, and he didn't want AJ to have to kill. So I didn't have AJ kill Lily at the end, even though Lily has done some very bad things. And I eventually spared Lily, and this resulted in James' death, which I regretted. So now episode 4, and there's so much to talk about in this episode, so I'll only get a little bit done. So Lily escaped, the boat blew up, and then I eventually killed Minerva because she was a crazy villain, and 10 died because I trusted AJ to make the right calls. And then Clementine eventually gets bitten, and I got so worried. I mean, I got very worried when Clementine got bitten. I hoped that she would never get bitten, that she would never die, and I was just so worried, like, this couldn't be happening. But then eventually AJ saved Clementine by cutting off her leg, and I did not see that twist coming at all, and I was really surprised. I was really shocked, and I'm so glad Telltale did not end Clementine's life in the story and just ended the story. And they eventually gave her a happy ending, which I believe that she deserved. And now we play as AJ for like the last 10 minutes of the episode, and I'm so glad that we did because AJ is a pretty cool character, and he is basically the perfect balance between both worlds, and key characters like that always interest me because they don't really know too much about the world, but they're adjusting. And Clementine gets her happy ending, or it's basically a happy ending as she can get. She's with Lewis, AJ's alive, and they're at the boarding school safe with the other characters. And I'm so glad that uh, season 4 ended on such a high note, and I'm very glad that Telltale and Skybound were able to give this to us and work on it. So I give this episode and this season a 9 out of 10.